Alright, today we have a very special video. I am going to be going over the top 10 cards in each and every clan. So, some ground rules. I am only going to include pretty much spells, equipments, and rooms, and then also non-banner units. So something like Lead Songbird is eligible, but something like Divine Dancer is not. Champions are not eligible. And also starter cards are not eligible either. So just going to be draftable cards pretty much that aren't banner units. So how am I going to define what makes for a good card? Well, I think there's really two major aspects. The one is kind of how universally draftable it is. If I see it, am I pretty much always going to take it in every situation, or at least most of the time, even if it's not that good in this certain situation? Is it just a universally always good to take? So pretty much the floor and even the median, right? And well, yeah, that's the floor, and then basically the median too. The median I'll consider as basically what is the card typically doing in a run? How good is it usually? In most instances. And then finally, I will consider the ceiling as well. I don't care about ceiling quite as much, but if a card has a really crazy high ceiling, it is going to get some bonus points for that. I mostly only care about the floor and the median just because I care about the consistency. I think that makes for stronger cards rather than cards that, you know, sometimes are game winning but usually don't do anything. I value that consistency a little bit more. So I think that's basically it. So without further ado, I'm going to start with Banished. And then we're going to make it a little more interesting, I think it would be kind of boring if I went Banished, Pyreborne, Luna, etc. And then I went to the Monster Train 1 clans. I think that would be kind of boring at the end. So I'm going to do it in alternating. I'm going to do Banished, Hellhorned, and then go back to Pyreborne and do like that. So we're going to be starting with Banished. And of course, you know, I'm not much of an honorable mentions guy. I think that, like, if you do like a top 10 with 3 honorable mentions, that's okay. So that's top 13 then, you know. But the only reason why I want to do it here is because some clans are better than others, and some clans do have some cards that don't quite make the cut, but really would probably deserve to be in a top 10 in another clan. So some clans have some honorable mentions, some don't. I just want to point out cards that are good, that maybe you might be confused why they're not here. And just want to give them a shout out, even if they don't make the top 10. So for some honorable mentions for Banished, we'll begin. So my first honorable mention is going to be Heroic Dive. This is an overstack card. It just lets you get more units onto your floor. That's what Banished likes to do. And this is a decent way of doing it. It is uncommon, and overstacks are kind of worse than uncommon because typically when you form like an overstack game plan, you want to do it earlier on in the run. It's hard to kind of pivot into an overstack thing. The other thing is that Descend is generally a lot worse for overstacking than Ascend, but not always. But even still, it's a pretty good card. It's a pretty good card for overstacking. And then next we have Lead Songbird. This is a pretty good hymnist. It is a little bit awkward to play just because of the lack of banner. Sometimes it's hard to just get onto your floor, but the 1 attack per stack on Valor is really nice. You know, Valor can sometimes have a little bit of trouble scaling offensively, and this basically doubles the attack that Valor gives. So if you can find a way to get onto your floor, it's really good. And it's kind of a similar story with Punk Shredder. This was my last honorable mention here. He also gives trample. I'm not really sure which one of these is better between Lead Songbird and Punk Shredder. I mean, they're both quite good in different situations. They both have the same strengths, same flaws. You generally want to get some health on them, some survivability, and you have to find some way to get them onto your floor. But they're good when you can. So let's get into the top 10. At number 10, we're continuing the theme with the Hymnists. It's going to be Death Metal Hymnist. This one is even harder to play because he's 4 Ember, and you can't play him in deployment. But his effect is completely insane, right? He basically doubles all damage unconditionally on your floor. Hard to play. This is kind of what I was going into earlier with... I don't value ceiling quite as much, so that's why he's only at number 10, right? He's more of a ceiling kind of guy. There's plenty of runs where I don't want to take him. I feel like I can't make him work. But when he does work, he's extremely strong. Let's see, at number 9, I have Wings Radiance. This is a really useful spell. It can just very versatile, always very pickable. Also has a very high ceiling. It can apply a lot of melee weakness, so you can really nuke something. You can also use it to move enemies around. And you can also use it to move yourself around. If you play it at 0 Ember, it still advances. It will apply 0 melee weakness to your unit, but at the very least it could be an advance, so it can be a shift trigger at the end of your turn. So that's why it's a very versatile card, and it's just very takeable. Yeah. And it has a pretty high ceiling too, because, you know, if you can get a lot of melee weakness on something, you can really do quite a lot of damage with this thing. Number 8, I have Cursed Twin Blade. It just gives something multi-strike. Now, the -1 attack strike usually is fine. It's usually completely fine. There are some situations, like with a sweeper or something, where that can kind of get a little scary. You know, if you have a sweeper attacking 5 units, it's -5 attack, and then it hits again at least once because of this gives another strike. So it's -10 attack on one turn, and then if it has another strike, it's -15 attack. So you got to be careful. You got to make sure you have some kind of scaling to go along with this, but it's still just quite a good equipment. It does cost 2 Ember, but that's usually plenty fine. Multi-strike is good. Not much else to say about it. Number 7 would be over here. I have Benediction. Benediction applies Valor 2 and Damage Shield 1. I am taking this for the Damage Shield more than the Valor. You know, your back units generally don't care as much about Valor. You know, it gives a little bit of attack, but I'm mostly taking this because it gives Damage Shield to all my units, which is great against something like Corruption Seraph. So this is just a very takeable card. It's not going to really win you the run, but it's a good double stack target. It's a good -2 in consume. Yeah, a lot of time you only need to play it once. So -2 in consume is fine. Just to get some initial survivability. Double stack. You can even give this a Holy Stone. Just a lot of decent value here. Very takeable card. At number 6, we have Cleave. Cleave is a card that can really help you with a problem that Banished can sometimes struggle with, and that's AoE clear. A lot of times they can struggle with this, and this can be your solution, right? You can get a -1 on this and a holdover, and it's just every turn you're just getting lots of AoE damage to the floor, and it can... this is a bit of a ceiling card, right? It can be really strong. It can also be not that useful. If you have something like an Avenger in front that's not really getting buffed and he's like 20-40 attack, it's like Cleave is not that useful. It's still like okay, but it's not really worth holding over or anything. It's not really like carrying you. And there's plenty of runs where I just don't need this card at all. There's a lot of times where I'll start with it and I end up removing it because it's not really playable at 2 Ember and it's not doing anything for me. So, but it's useful enough, often enough, and it's helping with a problem that Banished really struggles with. So I will include it here. That is compared to our number 5 card, which is Shield of Wing, which is basically doing the same thing, except I think it's just better. It's giving health to your unit, it's a one and done, and it just clears things on its own without needing any further investment. The only problem with it is that it does deal damage equal to the unit's attack. So if the unit continues to take damage, the amount of damage that it deals back will decrease. So you really want this on something that either has a lot of damage shield, or you have a way to heal your unit, or you have a lot of armor in Valor, like something like Firebrand obviously is a unit that really likes this card. But Firebrand will, even with this as deployable, Firebrand still will take some damage on turn 1, so you really kind of do want some extra health on her somehow, or some way to heal her up so that she can do the full damage. Now the ceiling of this damage generally isn't as high as something like a Cleave, but I think at a floor case, remember I care about the floor a little more, I think this is more like set and forget, easier to get going than Cleave. And it's just performing its job with much less resistance. So at number 4, I'm going to say Tome of the Lost Path. This is an extremely takeable card, very draftable. It's really never wrong to take it. It really allows you to overstack your floors. It gives you a shift every 2 turns, and it's very cheap. It removes itself. Just a very versatile card that's just providing great value. You know, the overstacking and the shifting element, it's doing multiple things at once. It's cheap. It's just very takeable. Yeah, really good card. It's not always the best pick in your rare packs, because Banished does have quite a few good rares, but it's almost always good. Like, it's never wrong to take this. At number 3, I have Rising Rage. This is a better overstack card. It ascends and it also advances, so it triggers shift twice on your unit. It's also replayable. You can ascend things to the top, and again, ascending is better than descending, generally speaking, for your own units. Just a really good overstack card. You can hold it over even, and it can just continue to advance and shift if you're playing on top floor. My only criticism with it is, you know, if you aren't playing top floor, then it's not really playable as a shift. And also, a lot of the time, it's just not necessary. Like, a lot of the time, you just don't overstack. So it's not, like, super universally takeable. But in situations where it is good, it's just such an efficient and cheap way to get some overstacking. And then some with the advance. So, really nice card. At number 2, I have Everlasting Light. This has been a win condition for me in so many of my decks. Just applying Valor 2 to everything on strike. Great on like sweepers, great on like multi-strikers. Great to combine with like the Cursed Twin Blade. This just ends up adding up so quickly. It's a very cheap weapon. I've had this, you know, pop off. It does more than you think. Like Valor 2 might not seem like a lot, but it adds up really quickly. This really gets like to really high levels of scaling faster than you think, and it wins me runs often. And even when it doesn't, it's still just a great weapon to just slap on the unit. I give lots of valor. Yeah, it's just very universally takeable and very high ceiling. And finally, for our number 1 Banished card, the Blood-Soaked Arena, a room card. This is basically just an even better, more universal Everlasting Light. It gives Valor 6 on Slay. So this adds up really fast. It also frees up your equipment slot for you. You can put other equipments on your carry rather than Everlasting Light. You know, of course, this does take up a room slot too, but I don't know. I think that there aren't really many great Banished rooms, so... Well, there's two, really, right? I think the other room's, like, okay if you're doing shifting stuff, but if you're not, this is really, like, most of the time what you're going to want. This isn't really competing with a whole lot in Banished. It's just giving you crazy scaling, crazy defense. It's solving so many problems. Just a really great unconditional way. It's good for all the same reasons Everlasting Light is good. Except in my opinion, it's just a little better. I pretty much will always take this. It's like always a snap pick. Very, very strong room. One of the best rooms in the game. If not, maybe the best, really. Very strong. Okay, so that was the Banished. Now we move on to Hellhorned. And I have one honorable mention for Hellhorned. It's going to be the Welder Helper. Just a lot of upfront defense for cheap. You're going to have to solve the problem of how you get them off your floor, because you generally don't want them sticking around, but you can use them as a big chump blocker, or you can stick them behind. You can give him Endless. It's a little bit awkward, because you can't really play him in front to get him killed constantly like you can like other imps if you give them Endless, because he gains so much armor that he doesn't die, and it's awkward, but still just a solid unit to have. So to begin our top 10, at number 10 I have One Horn's Tome. This is a good card. If you, in some search situations, it's very good. It's not that universally takeable. It's very expensive, and the fragile does matter a lot of the time. But giving one multi-strike to a unit can also be game-winning. You know, sometimes with the fragile, it's like sometimes you just don't care about the fragile. You have plenty of armor, maybe, and usually if the enemies are actually getting through your armor and hitting your HP, it probably means your unit's dead anyway. So that's often the case with Hellhorned. This thing is pretty expensive. You're gonna have to, you know, get it down, but you can give it like a remove consume, then -2 in consume, and make it a 2 give multi-strike, and then you can just keep playing it, and the fragile doesn't matter anymore because fragile doesn't stack. So that's a really good use case for it. So I think for that reason it's better in this game than it was in Monster Train 1, but still not super amazing due to its, you know, kind of very expensive still, and it's very not super universal. At number 9, I put Alloy of the Ancients. This is just a really solid one and done armor card. You can give this spell chain, you can give it double stack, you give it remove consume, and it's a really efficient way to just get lots of armor. You know, I think the armor of Hellhorned is something that got a lot worse in this game, so you really want to make sure you have a lot of it. And this is probably your most efficient way to get it. It's a little bit better than Welder Helper. It's just unconditional armor. Great. Intrinsic even. Give it intrinsic, and it's just a lot of upfront survivability. Just always a useful card. Always a card I'm glad to have. At number 8, I have Impish Scholar. Now, it is worth mentioning, and this is going to be a recurring theme in this video, I generally don't go for infinites. I don't really like doing it. I think it's boring. I think it's really obnoxious and not fun. And this card can lead to a lot of silly infinites. If you are somebody who values infinites, I think that you would probably have this guy a lot higher. I do not. But in any case, even without infinites, he's still a really useful card. Giving a random consume spell back can oftentimes be really strong. Just a really cheap way to get a good card a lot of the time. And you can even give him endless, even if you're not doing infinite stuff. Just giving him endless and getting stuff back constantly is just really good value usually. So I like him. He's a good unit to have. Number 7, we have... Oh yeah, 0, right? So important work. Again, we gotta touch on the infinite thing here. I don't do the infinites. But even without the infinites, this is a really solid way to just accelerate whatever you're doing with your imps. You give this holdover spell chain, you can just play the same endless imp 3 times in one turn. So good for rage imps, but even good for welder helper, or even good for impish scholar. Just lots of value to be had here, even without the infinites. It costs 0. Just a really good force multiplier here. Even if you don't have endless, you have Queen's Implings, it can just be a really good cycle. Just get through your deck faster. Even in the floor, it's just a decent cycle card. Okay, number, what are we on here? 6? Yeah. Last Stand. Double Rage. Always been a fan of this card. Can really, I think it's actually, you might think it's win more, but actually it's not. I actually think that the best use for this card is when you draw it like kind of early. You've already played like a couple of Rage cards, and you really need that huge boost to get over the hump. To get you to the point where you're like, okay, yes, I'm online. That, to me, is a lot of the time the best use of this card. Is to just give you that initial boost. You don't want to top deck it in your opening hand, but you want to draw it your second or third turn a lot of the time. And it even takes consume, remove, -2 consume, and you can just keep playing it. And then that's win more usually, but that's a great way to just one-shot the game. Of course, you know, it does require rage, but you're usually doing some kind of rage thing with Hellhorned, so that's barely a criticism. It does probably have the only disadvantage of being, you really want to draw it at the right time. So Permafrost is good on it too. At number 5, I have Hidden Passage, Ascend. Good. That's a good overstack card. The only bad thing about it is that it's in Hellhorned, which is the clan with imps. So a lot of the time, if you want to do an overstack thing, it means you're shutting yourself off from imps. So that's the only problem with this, really. But this is just a very unconditional overstack. It's very cheap and simple. Not much to say about it. I do miss Iron Drop Gauge. I do miss that you used to be able to occasionally stun enemies with this, but still a great card. Okay, number 4, Fledgling Imp. This is a lot of the time going to be your game plan. You have this guy Endless, you give him Dualism, and you just keep playing him every turn. You let him chump block, you do important works, you get lots of rage on your units. He does want Endless, and he does want Dualism, but to tell you the truth, he doesn't need both of those things. I think you generally want at least one of them, but with Dualism, it's like you can just give him Dualism and then give him just dupe him once or twice, and then play a Last Stand, and then, that's good enough. You got lots of rage from that, even if he's not Endless. And then Endless, you do want that a lot of the time anyway. And you don't, even though you like him to be Dualism, you don't necessarily need the Dualism. You can also make multiple of him and just play a couple of them every turn. That never feels great, but it is an option. You do need space for that a lot of times. You need Ember, so it's tough, but also very doable. Just a really solid rage card. Just one of your bread and butter rage cards that is going to be your game plan to win a lot of the time. Just a very iconic guy. Okay, number 3. Transcendent. It's funny, you can't infuse this guy anymore, so you'd think he got a lot worse. I actually think he got better in this game. He feels much more playable to me, and I don't know why. In any case, he does all your imp stuff again. So he'll give you lots of armor, he'll give you lots of rage, he'll give you lots of anything. And he repeats any summon effect. So that includes something like Greed Dragon, which is pretty amazing that he does that. If you have Greed Dragons, then you can just play a couple of these guys too, and they're just one space Greed Dragons, basically. Obviously, that's only a thing with Pyreborne, but even without something like that, you know, any summon trigger he's good with. It's mostly going to be imps most of the time, but imps are pretty good. You know, 2 of the imps made our top 10 list here, and 1 of them made the honorable mention, so if you just have all of your imps in one, then that's really good, it turns out. Alright, number 2. Ritual of Battle. Just a big, expensive card that says big number. The good news is that you can make it a not big, expensive card that says big number. You can give it a -2 in consume and remove consume. Or you can give it a -1 and a double stack. Or you can give it -1 holdover. You know, that's pretty expensive, but you can do that. This is just a really great way to get a lot of rage quickly. It's 24 attack worth of rage. You just play a few of these and you're already getting lots of attack. With all the multi-strike in this clan, this adds up really quickly. This is just a really solid, once again, like the fledgling bread and butter rage card. I think this one is a little bit better though, because it's more versatile in what you want to do with it. You can get, like I said, you can give it a double stack and give it remove consume and -2. You can do lots of stuff with it. You can dupe it a few times. You don't need to play it every single turn. So like the problem with an endless imp is that you need to draw it every turn, and you need to spend an ember on it every turn. So it's taking up an ember and a draw. With this, you can just put a couple of them in your deck and just play them whenever you draw them. And then they're not clogging up your draws every turn or taking lots of your ember, and they're giving you more rage, and they're not taking up space. So to me, it just feels a little more takeable than the Rage Imp. It feels a little bit more versatile and universal in what it can do. It's not always strictly better than the Rage Imp, but I would say I think maybe 60-40 or so, I would rather have this one than the Imp. And for our number 1 card, in Hellhorned, we don't have to go very far. Tiresome Climb. Ascend and apply Daze 2. I think you might see it on this list as we go along here, but it turns out Daze is a very strong debuff. There's a reason why they don't let you propagate it. It just turns off the enemies, turns off the bosses. You don't have to worry about your defense. Well, at least you don't have to worry as much about it. You can give this a double stack and it plays Dazed 4. Double stack and intrinsic, you know, you just turn off the boss for a few turns. You can ascend enemies off the floor to kind of decouple things that are annoying. Let's say you have no backline access. You can ascend the silence unit on Seraph or something like that. And, of course, you can ascend your own unit. You know, you can climb these Mario 64 stairs here and just put your own unit. You know, you daze it. But here's the thing. If you're playing top floor, then if you have this intrinsic, Okay, I ascend my guy, I give him daze 2. By the time the enemies get to the top floor, he's not daze anymore. So this is a really multifaceted card that's really versatile. It's doing so much. I always take this card pretty much. Pretty much always want to see this card. It is really strong in Monster Train 1, and that hasn't changed. Still a very strong card. Okay, we have Pyreborne next. Pyreborne is a clan that, I'm going to be honest with you, I kind of struggle to even come up with 10 cards. I do like Pyreborne. I think they do a lot of strong stuff. But a lot of their cards are intentionally kept weak because of their greed and economy mechanics. So there's no honorable mentions here because I even struggled to come up with 10 that I think were worthy of a top 10. So we're just going to get into number 10 here. And number 10 is Golden Touch. And it's here because it says gain 1 egg. And eggs are good. It's a pretty low downside 1 egg. It even can ping and deal 5 damage. It costs 2 Ember, which is quite a lot. It's a very expensive card for what it does, really. But what it does is very good. So you can't hate it too much. A lot of time you just need eggs, and this is a way to get you eggs. At number 9, I said Dragon's Breath. This is just a strong AoE card. Applies Pyrogel 10 to everything, gets some initial Pyrogel going. Increases all damage by 10, so it's not just 10 damage, it's a lot more than that. It is expensive, it's very expensive for what it does. And it's not always, you're not always doing Pyrogel stuff, but it's just a solid enough card a lot of the time that I think it belongs here, I guess. Maybe. It's not quite on the level of other clans' top 10s, but it's a pretty decent card. Number 8, Lava Armor. This is mostly an early game card. Gives 10 health, gives Pyrogel 3. Really nice relentless solution for the early game. You know, Pyreborne is really lacking in defense, and this is some of the only real defense they kind of have. So you kind of just take what you can get with that. Not much else to say about this card, just solid early game for beating relentless. Number 7, I say Mind Cage. There's a lot of good activated abilities in Pyreborne, and this just helps you get those cooldowns down. Hothead is the obvious payoff for this. Also good on Phoenix, but you can use it on your other clan too. You can put it on Talos, you can put it on lots of different stuff. You know, give it to a Meat Hook or something. Just a pretty solid card that's doing something, an effect of reducing cooldown, which is pretty hard to come by. Next up at number 6, I said Tome of Contracts, the Cooler Daniel. This is just a better version of Mind Cage. It's not taking up an equipment slot, and you can play more than one of them. So on your Phoenix, you can play 2 of these, and you get to cooldown to 1, whereas Mind Cage only gets your cooldown down to 2. Or you can play Mind Cage and this to get cooldown 1. It gets rid of itself, it's out of the way, and it doesn't take up an equipment slot. So it's just a very slightly better version of Mind Cage, I say. Okay. Now we're in the number 5. Here's where I think we actually get to some good, like, I mean, these cards are good, right? But here's where we get some really good cards. Like, some actually great cards. Like, Banished, it was kind of hard to determine a top 10. This top 5 is now sort of on the level of a lot of those top 10 Banished cards. Number 5, Pyroclasm. You never hate to see this. Just a lot of damage up front. expensive, but you can get it down in cost. It is tuned. There is a little bit of conduit in this clan, not much, but it's ultimately just a really strong AoE spell. It's sort of like the new Inferno. You know, if you played Monster Train 1, Inferno was a great card. You'll notice I actually didn't have it on my top 10 for Hellhorned, and that's because I think it's just so much less flexible now. You know, damaging your own units is really bad, and you're usually playing on 2 floors at least, sometimes even 3 floors in this game, so a lot of time Inferno's just unplayable. So this is kind of the replacement for Inferno here. It deals more damage than Inferno, and it's attuned. It is a little more expensive, but this card can really, really clean up. This card can be exactly what you need sometimes. You know, Pyreborne does somewhat struggle with AoE sometimes, but not anymore with this card. Number 4, Sacrificial Chamber. This is an extremely powerful economy card. You will be very rich if you have like a hothead or something with this. If you're killing 3-4 enemies on the floor, every single turn, over the course of so let's say you're killing 3 enemies over the course of like 8 rounds, making 240 gold from this thing. That's a ton. This is giving you a ton of money. It's not giving you any immediate power, but this is just a really strong economy card. At number 3, Alchemy. This is the best egg generation card in Pyreborne for me, other than maybe like an endless guildmonger. This is just giving you so many eggs. It is a little expensive, but you can get it down in cost easily. And it's just a great way to accumulate eggs, and eggs are good. Yeah, pretty straightforward with this one. Not much else to say. At number 2, Make It Rain. This is another great AoE card. It can deal damage 4 times, right? That's what it says. So if you have a lot of Pyrogen units, it just deals 4 instances of damage. You can give it a plus 10 magic power, and it deals 40 damage just from that. And its base damage is another 20, so 60 damage just from plus 10. You give it Spell Chain, cast it multiple times. Holdover, you know, it's just a really big AoE. When I first saw this card, I was like, what? Spend 5 gold? I don't want to spend money. I don't want to lose my money. But you can also just not play this card if you don't want to lose your money. Just don't play it. It becomes more and more valuable as the run goes on, typically. It just saves you so often. I'm just never sad to see this card. I always want to have it in my deck. Just to have it. It's one of those cards that you like having more than you need to play it a lot of the time, if that makes any sense. It has a high deck win rate. Like in I don't know, in some card games they kind of track those things like Hearthstone or Magic or something. Like there's certain cards that have like high deck win rates, even though their played win rates aren't as good. Just having this card in your deck as an option is extremely strong. And it can really bail you out a lot of the time. You know, 4 instances of damage too, really useful against like Dominion waves with all the reanimate. Yeah, really strong. And number 1 Pyreborne card is Payoff. This is a card that can heal you for a ton. If you have 8 eggs, it is 16 pyre health in each battle. That adds up quickly and can even... It's one of the few cards in the game that can, if you see it, it can completely influence the way that you play the metagame. Meaning, I might actually change the path that I go to, and I can be greedier with my pathing now because I don't need to go to a pyre health node. I don't need to worry about like savagery damage or amalgam damage. It's just a card that just enables you to do so many things. Health is, you need health to live. So you get a lot of health, you're good. Leaks become much better. Yeah. Just really strong. It gives you tons of health at base. A really solid payoff, as it were. You can move on to Awoken now. Yeah, another clan that does not have very many powerful cards. Some of these are kind of... I almost feel bad putting them in the top 10 when I see what some of the other clans have in their top 10s and how I struggled to make top 10s for other clans because there's so many good cards. With this clan, I'm like, do I have to do 10? Oh, jeez. For my number 10, I said Engraft. I mean, this is not even a very good card. It's just a free Cultivate. Cool. Now you can give it a -1, and it can sort of be like an Ember upgrade. If you give it a -1 holdover, it's like an Ember upgrade. Okay, great. But that's still just not that good. All the time you're taking Ember upgrade anyway now in this game. So that's kind of redundant. There's so many better things to put -1 on, but it's always a card I'll just take if I'm doing any kind of cultivating thing. So for that reason, just because it's high draftability, I will put it at 10. Number 9, Restoration Detonation. A solid heal in the early game. Does 15 health now. So a slight buff from Monster Train 1. A good upfront damage spell, which Awoken can sometimes lack, and combined with a heal. It's not blowing you away really, but it's a decent card. Okay. Number 8, Razor Sharp Edge. Not as good in this game. I mean, 10 attack is just not really that much. And the -2 health is actually more significant now, I think. You kind of do want some of that defense. So, it's not doing a whole lot, but a lot of the time it's kind of the only choice you have for scaling. So, I guess I have to include it. Finally getting some decent-ish cards. At number 7, Pyreborne. Just a free Ember upgrade when you see it. The draw -2 is actually quite a downside. It is. It is actually not it's not nothing. But Awoken typically has so much draw that a lot of times it doesn't really matter. Even being a close to unconditional Ember upgrade, though, I do find myself taking this less than you might expect. A lot of time, it just isn't that necessary to have this. So, yeah, but I mean, free Ember, a lot of the time, you can't complain about that. It is still quite takeable, even so. At number 6, where are you? Adaptive Mutation. With certain things like Valor now in this new game, Rage was always the big payoff. That's still a big thing, but also now Valor and things like Mage Blade. This is a really powerful effect. It can just give you a ton of attack or defense immediately. It can really turn around a bad situation. I've had this card turn around bad situations for me a lot. Excuse me. The only thing that isn't that good about it is that it's not super universal. There's plenty of runs where it's just not going to do anything for you. But when it's good, it's very good. Okay, number 5, Restoring Retreat. This card got a little bit of a glow up. Who is this guy, by the way, on the art? Because he's the same guy on the Tiresome Climb art. He's going up the stairs, now he's going down the beanstalk. This guy's going all over the place. Anyway, restoring retreat. It costs 1 ember now, and it's a descend, so it's an overstack card. Great. We love to see that. We love overstacking, but on top of that, it's also a heal. So a lot of things like Thorn Hollow, that a lot of time you're playing bottom anyway, it's just a 10 health heal. So that can be useful too. Another thing it can do is it can kind of kick the boss off the floor. You know, if you have like Corruption Seraph or something that can really punish Awoken. And you say, oh no, I don't want my units to get corrupted. Well, just get them off the floor. Just hold this over and just get them off the floor and he won't corrupt your units. So this is a much better card in Monster Train 2 than it was in Monster Train 1, and it's very takeable. Number 4, if you can believe it, Steel Enhancer. I think this card is so much better now. I mean, you think from +3/+3 in Monster Train 1 that +4/+4 is not that significant, but I think that it is. I think that the +4 health is actually the bigger reason why I'm taking this a lot of the time. There's so few ways to increase your health in this game, and +4 is such a big improvement from +3. It's often so much harder to buff your defense than your offense like that, especially in something like Awoken. So this can really add a lot of the survivability to your units. Something like Animus of Will really loves this. Not only from the attack, but from the health as well. Just getting the extra health on this thing is why I take this a lot of the time. I will absolutely hold over spell chain this thing. 8/8 every turn. I mean, sign me up. Yeah, I'll invest those resources into that. Yeah. I actually really like this card now. Number 3. Passed it. Unleash the Wildwood. In a world where Awoken's healing is not really keeping up, healing your units to full a lot of the time is like, okay, but that's pretty good though. You know, having a big heal like a Wake for 40 or something like that can a lot of the time not make a difference, but healing for 100 with Unleash the Wildwood can matter a lot. I end up taking in this card a lot of the times just for safety. Sometimes you just need this. Sometimes you just need to play this, and you need to play it every turn even. I mean, healing to full is a very powerful effect. I always really liked this card in Monster Train 1, and I like it even better here. Number 2, Ensnare. Nothing's changed. Rooting a unit and drawing a card. This card draws itself and roots a unit. You can hold it over and it's just a free root every single turn. Hold over spell chain is 2 roots and an extra draw. This card can get positive value, like strictly positive value. Like you're not only is it like good value, it can straight up go into generating more value out of thin air by doing holdover spell chain. Now you get an extra draw every turn and you're getting 2 roots for 0 downside. This card is a card that just I feel like is never really a skip for me. I don't see a reason to ever really skip it. The only problem with it is that it offsets your draw by 1 if you don't upgrade it. That's totally fine. The rooting is super valuable. And even at its floor, I will pretty much just always take this. There's no reason not to. And number 1 shouldn't be a surprise, Woken Rail Spike. This is the easiest way to enable infinites in the game. A lot of the time you'll do it by accident. Just by slapping a -2 in consume and remove consume on this thing, you'll just stumble into infinites. I try to stay away from those again, but even not trying for them, this card can just give you so much value. Just make a couple of them, -2 consume, remove consume, and you'll just draw so many cards. even without going for infinites. Awoken doesn't have many great cards, but this is a really great one. Alright, moving on to Luna. You know, I was surprised by the number of good cards Luna has. I have a few honorable mentions for them. Gravity. I've talked a lot about overstacks. The only thing I don't like about this one is it's kind of unreliable, especially if you don't have it on intrinsic. It's hard to... You need Moon Cycle to make sure you are putting the unit where you want to. It also deals damage to your own unit, which there's a lot of units, like something like Moon Pixie, where it's like, well, that just kills my Moon Pixie if I don't put health on it. So I can't use this on it. And then if I have any other conduit on the floor, it's like, well, now it's dealing like 30 damage. Now it's just killing any unit I play, it will just kill. So this thing is kind of inflexible. I don't actually really like taking it that much, but just for the fact that it can overstack, I'm putting it in the honorable mentions. Stardust Invocation, another honorable mention. It is phasing, and it is giving you another copy of a good spell in your hand. So, a lot of good value here. Pretty takeable, but a lot of the time it's not that takeable. A lot of the time you just don't really need this, but it can be a pretty strong effect. And last honorable mention, Bloody Moon. One of the better pings in the game, just a free, slap plus 10 on it. You can kill the 35 HP Scourge Shufflers for free. And then if you have Conduit, it does even more than that. You give it a -1, it's generating Ember now. So really strong ping. Kicking off our number 10, Luna Cycle Staff. This thing can get to pretty high attack numbers and just be a really solid, cheap, damage boosting weapon. It does require you have Moon Cycle, and you do generally need to see it pretty early, but it can get to some really high attack. And that's it. That's what it is. It's a permascaler. Just a lot of attack, but I like attack, so that's that. Number 9, Silver Ink. This can be a nice solid win condition. Can stack with Conduit on your own stuff to just give you huge spells. It's not really a win more effect at all. It's very much just a win in general. Like sometimes this is the way you win. Especially for stuff that gives you defense. So yeah, this is a bailout card for me a lot of the time. I really like it. I've really come around to it. At number 8, Duality. This is a really good payoff for Conduit. It's attuned, and it deals a ton of damage. Or heals a lot. Usually you want to deal a ton of damage. But it's a very versatile, cheap card that can just do a ton of damage. 1 Ember attuned card. That's not really a thing in Luna, generally speaking, for good reason. This can just be a one-shot card, not without that much effort. You can hold this over, you can make a couple of them, spell chain it. You can clear waves with these, if you're lucky enough to get that much Conduit, but it'll at least do a lot. Okay, number 7, Tidal Turning. This is a great AoE defense solution with all of Luna's fragile units. Getting lots of armor on your guys just once at the beginning can be, game winning. You can just win the fight off of that against the Corruption Seraph or Savagery Seraph, just getting that initial bit of survivability with all your Conduit will be just sealing the deal in the fight. Okay, number 6, Planetarium. Just lots of upfront Conduit. Sometimes you don't find like a ton of conduit generation, or maybe you do, and you just want this room because it's just good supplemental conduit. Yeah, I mean it's just kind of, you know, good value on this. Just take it, and it's at the very least giving you maybe 15 conduit, but could also be more. And that 15 conduit can matter a lot, especially with the tune stuff. Or it can just give you a lot of attack for Mage Blade. It's like a better version of Fight Club in that instance. Just a room I really like seeing a lot of the time. Okay, number 5, Moon Pixie. Really cheap investment unit. If you give this thing Conduit 5 and Dualism, it gives you Conduit 8 and Enchant Grant Conduit 6. So it itself has 14 conduit total, and it's giving 6 to everybody else. If you have 3 other units on the floor, it's giving you 18, so it's giving like 32 conduit to the floor, which is more than Planetarium. Yes, it does use a space, but a lot of the time you kind of want to have wide floors with Luna. So this can have a higher ceiling, and it's also very takeable. I don't think that, you know, for as many good cards as Luna has, I don't think they have like amazing commons, and this is just one I end up taking a lot of the time. Because a lot of the time it's just good value. Okay, we're at number 4. Eclipse Chamber. This can be a great set and forget, easy way to just always have your new moon effects, mostly for something like Shade Guard. You just don't have to worry about that anymore, and he just grows every turn now. He also gains 15 attack on resolve. This is also pretty good on Nightingale, and pretty much the only thing that really enables Nightingale. Yeah, if you're doing any kind of new moon stuff, this is one you're definitely going to want. Okay, number 3. Number 3... Moonlit Glaive. This is your big payoff for Conduit. Mage Blade 3 adds up really fast. This can just be a ton of damage with the amount of Conduit you can get on Luna. It used to cost 1 Ember, which is pretty hilarious. I think even at 2, it's still really good. Just a really nice payoff for having lots of Conduit. You know, I'll even dupe this thing a couple times and make 2, even 3 of them when I have wide floors with lots of conduit. It's totally fine to just have a whole bunch of these. It's a really good weapon. One of the best in the game. Number 2, Starstruck. Daze is good. It's a little bit less flexible. Again, it does need to be full moon, but the good news is you can intrinsic this, and it always starts in full moon. So you can intrinsic this and spell chain it maybe, or hold it over, and you can immediately turn off the boss, which is really valuable. Any sort of Daze is great. It also doubles as a ping. It deals 5 damage. So pretty versatile card, one that I pretty much always want to take. Yeah, and it says Daze on it, so very good. And the best is number 1 is Phase Blessing. This can just single-handedly, for very cheap, without any upgrades. You don't need to upgrade this card at all. You just need to have lots of conduit. And it can give you a ton of armor, and you're just good for the whole fight. This thing can get silly, out of control, tons of armor. Can single-handedly solve your defense, again, without even any upgrades a lot of the time. But he can even take a +10, it can take a holdover, a spell chain, -1. Lots of good stuff for this one. Just a very obvious take a lot of the time. Like almost every time I see it, I'm just like, yep, I will take that. Or why would I not? It's so much better than everything else here. Really good card. The best card in Luna, in my opinion. Okay, Stygian. Stygian is another clan that doesn't have any honorable mentions. It is just the 10. So at number 10, I said Titan's Gratitude. This is a strong spell. I think that like doing like spell weakness stuff with Icy Siliphyte on the bottom floor, just get a lot of spell weakness sweep, or Tethys with the spell weakness path. Makes the spell weakness stuff a lot more doable now. And you get some magic power on this, you have spell weakness. This can really nuke things. Can really like solve bosses in the early game. It can trigger offering, but I mostly use it for the damage. It's a really solid damage spell. At number 9, I have Guardian Stone. This can be a nice thing to shove on your floor if you have the room. Just gives you lots of armor, lots of survivability. Not much else to say about that one. And number 8, Flash Freeze. Very strong ping. Can also work as a relentless solution in the early game. You know, Frostbite 8 is quite a lot. It's a card that I generally find myself taking almost every time I see it. Mostly because Stygian combos just aren't very good, and this is one of the few good ones. So, a card I take very often, and it's pretty strong, especially in the early game. What is this, number 7? Crypt Builder. It says attuned also, as offering. You know, a lot of time if you can discard it, it's a free spell, a free incant, and you can give it some magic power, and it can do a lot of damage. To be honest with you, I'm not really using this card totally for its damage a lot of the time. I actually really like to put Holy Stone in this thing. I think it's one of the best Holy Stone targets in the game. And it can just, a lot of time, represent 3 pyre health every time you discard it. And that can add up. There can just be a lot of pyre health. And it's really valuable. It has saved me numerous times. So I really like it for that reason. One of the best Holy Stone targets in the whole game. Okay, number 6, Gifts of Regard. The infinite stuff is pretty lame, but it can also just be a lot of draw. Not much else to say. But I have to include it here just because Stygian doesn't have a lot of good stuff anyway, and it's capable of infinites technically, so I would be remiss not to mention it. At number 5, I have, where are you? Frenzied Swarm. Days 1 to everything is really strong, especially when you get holdover on this thing. Just completely solves your defense. The only problem with it is that it's only days 1, and half the time it basically means that you can't play your starter card, your foregone power. Because you don't want to discard this, so you basically just give up a starter card, and you get a lot of dead draws half the time. But when it's good, this card is really good, and I basically always take it. And the discard can be a good thing, obviously. It can trigger offering. But you generally want this for the days. Okay, number 4. Offering Token. This card really wants Spell Chain more than anything, because once you give it Spell Chain, it becomes draw positive. You'll draw 2 from it, even if you discard 2. And it's for only 1 draw that you took up. So this is a great way to get lots of incants in. It's a great way to cycle through your deck a lot faster. It's a great way to trigger offering. Just a very multifaceted card that's doing a lot for you. Now we're in the top 3. These are the big 3 of Stygian. These cards are all pretty insane. Number 3, I said Unnamed Tome. Mute 5. You can spell chain it, you can double stack it, you can remove consume it, you can intrinsic it. It takes so many things well, and it just shuts off bosses for free. And it has permafrost. Why? I don't know. I don't know why it has permafrost on it. I don't know. I really don't know. Now that I'm really thinking about it, I've never really thought about this before. Why did it need to have a permafrost? Like, it would already be very good if it didn't just have a major shop upgrade on it for free. But for some reason, they also gave it a major shop upgrade for free and made it cost 0. I don't know. Just a really strong card. Number 2, Deep Offering. This is, again with the infinites, yeah, but even without infinites, this can just be a really fast way to get lots of spells, lots of draws, lots of incants. You just play stuff with your incanting. Cycle through your deck really fast, see all the important stuff. This is basically always a takeable card. And it's almost always extremely strong. And finally, the best card in Stygian is Siren Song. You get double stack on this thing, you get holdover, GG. Game's over. You don't need to do anything, you just need to find some way to deal with relentless bosses, but you just stun everything forever. You can send everything into your Pyreborne and it will all die with day 6. You can also give this an intrinsic and just turn off the boss for the whole fight with spell chain or a double stack. So this card is a little ridiculous, can just win the game for you single-handedly. Yeah, a lot of good Stygian, a lot of really good Stygian cards at the top here, but this one is the one that takes the cake in my opinion. Moving on to Underlegion. For some honorable mentions, I have Spike of the Legion. It's a pretty good way to propagate, but it's only single target, and I actually don't think it's very efficient. But it says propagate 2X on it, so it's a pretty good card. And Cheery Death Cap's also an honorable mention. My problem with this card is that it's uncommon, so it's hard to plan around this. A lot of time you want to give it endless dualism, and it can just play it every turn, and it's dealing with all the waves, or backliners anyway. But it's hard to plan around that, because a lot of the time, you see this too late. So I actually mostly only really use this when I see it with like Pyre Dominion or something. But it's still good when you see it with all the right stuff. It's just that a lot of the time its time has already passed by the time you see it. And it's weird to add to your deck. So for our actual top 10, Contagious. There's going to be a few of these etch cards coming up here. This one makes enemy units propagate 4 and adds more consumes to your discard pile. Just goes nicely with a lot of what Underlegion wants to do. Not an extremely strong card in a vacuum, but enemy units propagate 4, okay, good. More etch, good. So, one of those cards you're looking for whenever you do etch runs. The other one being the number 9 card, which is Pandemic. I think this one's a little bit better because it gives you both this decay and the sap up front. It actually gives you the debuffs first. Without, propagate, but you need something to propagate first. This also gives more decay. It gives decay 8 instead of propagate 4, which is basically decay 4. And it gives you the sap avenue. A lot of the etch stuff gives you decay anyway. So this gives you more decay, and it also gives you sap on top of that. So this is another really great etch card. And finally, Unearthed Treasure. Just another great engine that just brings you a lot of etch cards when you need it. I think there is some infinite stuff you could do it, but I don't want to mess around with that. But yeah, it's just another great value card. That may be probably the best of all the etch ones. Okay, number 7, Glow Up. The advance can be pretty good when you have like a puffball bottom or something, but you're also making a mushroom stack bottom. It's like, okay, you can pull the puffball in front. You can also pull your mushroom stack in front, which is already probably in front, but you can pull it in front and it propagates too. So this is a really great card to like hold over with like Spore Launcher. Basically gives you spawn 2 every turn. So yeah, pretty solid card, good propagate card. Next up we have Proliferate. Another etch trigger, also propagates 2 on all units, yours and the enemy's. So this is propagate 2 on one thing, this is propagate 2 on everything. Yes, it does consume, yes, it doesn't advance, but this is doing quite a lot. You get remove consume on it, or just spell chain, or lots of stuff. It's doing quite a lot. At number 5, I have Grow Room. It's just a passive propagate every turn. Set and forget. Very nice. Infectory at number 5. Or number 4. Actually, yeah, this is number 4. This is an enabler for lots of stuff. For Spore Launcher, lots of spawn things. Can really get the ball rolling on Rally. Also helps you a lot in the Relentless. If you're killing units there, it makes a lot of fungi for you. A card that I always like having. I feel like there's so many good commons in Underlegion, and a lot of the time I end up picking this one in my packs. It's just an enabler for so many things. It's one that I always kind of want. The only problem with it is that it's competing with so many great rooms in Underlegion. Underlegion has a lot of great rooms. You know, the last one was a room, the Grow Room. This one's a room, and then we should move on to our number 3, which is Mushy Room. Yet another room. It's Sap 3 to enemy units, which is quite a lot. Sap 3 is a lot. If you pair this with more Propagate, you pair this with a Grow Room on the next floor, they're going to be sapped for a long time. And for a lot. So, yeah. This can eventually, you know, if you pair it with like Propagate and stuff, can just turn off like bosses completely. They just don't get to attack. I think Sap 3 is a little overkill for this. I think Sap 3 is quite a lot, which is why it's so good. Again, with these rooms, their only problem is that they're competing with so many other rooms in this clan. At number 2, Rot. Rot is a card that will pretty much secure your early game. Decay 15 is 45 damage per turn. You give this a double stack and it's 90 damage per turn. You give it a remove consume and -2 consume. It's a really cheap 15 decay. A lot of the time Underlegion needs this card to win. A lot of the time you're just not giving enough Rot on things with whatever you're doing. Or you're not giving enough decay on things, and then Rot can really solve that for you. Rot can be that extra little bit of reach you need. Mostly a great early game card, but it can be useful later on too. And finally we have Loam Coat, number 1. 20 HP is a ton. Propagates 2. And gives you regen. This thing can keep you alive forever. Underlegion really loves dualism on stuff, and you put this on anything with dualism, it's regen 2 that propagates for 2. It doesn't propagate for 4. This isn't affected by dualism, but if you also have like a regen 10 upgrade from the shop on something, then this regen adds to it and propagates, and that really gets the ball rolling on survivability. It's going to be put on a mushroom stack to make it bigger every turn and summon stuff. It can just passively propagate everything while also giving your unit 20 HP and a lot of survivability. This equipment is just doing a lot for not that high of a cost. It's probably Probably undercosted for what it does, but very strong equipment. One of the best in the game. Umbra for our honorable mentions. Cave In descends all units. This is a really strong overstack card. The only reason why it's an honorable mention is because, one, again, Descend is not as good, but the main thing is that it's in Umbra. And Umbra is just not really a clan that really wants to overstack. So it's a little bit wasted there, unfortunately. But when you find the right situation for it, it's really good. Another honorable mention is Grovel. Just a good morsel generator. It gives Divine Shield. Just a decent value card. Never sad to see it. And finally, last honorable mention, Making of a Morsel. Just a guaranteed good morsel. 9/9 every turn. If you get holdover or something. Or, you when you start with planks, it becomes much more valuable to just have a way to get morsels. And this is a really good morsel. So, number 10, starting off the top 10, I have Gem Trove. Again, just another way to get some morsels. It gives you 3 of them. And it gives damage shield 1 to friendly units. So, it's good for a lot of reasons. Benediction was good in Banished. And it's also giving you morsels. So, it's giving you a lot of what you want to do. The only problem is that a lot of the time these 3 morsels can be too much and you don't need them and they kind of clog up your deck because you can't play them. But that's not super common. It's still just a solid card. Very expensive, but still very good. It actually does cost 3 now. It used to cost 4, so the buff definitely helps. Okay, at number 9, Immortal Trade. This is one that I don't think lifesteal is like super valuable with all like the armor in the game now and damage shield and reanimate. It's like lifesteal isn't as necessary, but this will still secure your early game. You just play it right before the boss and you'll probably beat the boss with just the lifesteal. So a good card to have. Can be a nice relentless solution. Not amazing in my opinion, but can really help you out, especially in the early game. At number 8, I have Packed Morsels. Just a really great, efficient way to get lots of morsels. Much better when you have Plink and you really have a hard time getting morsels, but sometimes just getting a free lots of morsels is really good. I think morsels are pretty good now. They were buffed significantly. So it could just be a lot of upfront stats for no cost. Like that quite a lot. Okay, at number 7, Ember Cache. Ember Cache you give Remove Consume and -1, and you can play it a whole bunch, and it can be your way out of Ember Drain if you didn't find like a Perils. It's not super reliable, which is what's really bringing it down. It is also uncommon, and it's harder to game plan around it when it's uncommon, but it can definitely be a way to bail you out if you didn't hit on Perils and you have Ember Drain stuff going on. Or it's just a way to get a lot of good Ember and a lot of incants. Feels like a card that's always takeable. It's like never wrong to take. But in some situations it really shines. Okay, number 6, Void Binding. This is a big payoff for Ember Drain. 2 damage shield and rage 6 is a lot of stuff for 1 Ember. Does Ember Drain you, so you do need a way around Ember Drain, but it gives you so much stuff. The only thing dragging it down is that sometimes you just can't realistically play it because you're not doing an Ember Drain thing. So it's not really takeable super often, but very good when it is. A lot of the time it's really your scaling solution with Ember Drain. It's a better option than Perils for the actual rage. Number 5, Shroud Spike. Get a lot of eats in, get a ton of stats, really good payoff, especially with Ember Drain. This can really turn things around for you if you get it with the right morsel. Good remove, consume target, lots of stats. Yeah, always solid. Number 4, Furnace Tap. Another big payoff for Ember Drain. This one feels much less playable though when you don't have Ember Drain going on. You can add it to your deck, but it feels like pretty impossible to play a lot of the time if you don't have Ember Drain. And you'll just have to wait on it or permafrost it, and it's kind of weird. It's only to like beat the bosses. It's like you really do kind of need to see Ember Drain for it, but giving your unit a multi-strike is really strong. You can also remove consume this and just keep playing it for lots of multi-strike. And it also goes on Penumbra or Primordium. Gives you a ton of multi-strike. A lot of fun things you can do with this. It's just not super universal, I would say. But really good card. Okay, number 3 is Prismal Dust. This is one of the best survivability options there is. Just giving you lots of damage shields. It's really strong to help you get off the ground before you get your morsel eats in. Much better than Immortal Trade, in my opinion. Can go to much greater heights. You can get like 30 damage shield if you like double stack this thing, and you have lots of Ember Drain and stuff like that. It can go pretty nuts, and it can kind of just single-handedly solve your defense. Yeah, really, really love this card. We'll basically always take it unless it's offering against something else. Some other card we'll get to. Number 2, Umbra Stone. This is a really useful card to have even if you're not doing any Umbra stuff at all. This is such a universally great card. Put it on anything. Trample is strong. It's especially strong with like sweepers and stuff like that, but this is just a universally really strong card. It's really great to get in like cavern events when you're not even playing Umbra. Just a card you always love to see. And finally, number 1 is Perils of Production. This is the big engine for Ember Drain. This is what makes the whole thing work most of the time. You get Holdover and Spell Chain on it. Now you have lots of Ember, you have lots of Rage. And then a lot of the time you don't even necessarily need to get Holdover to get a lot of its effects. You can play it on morsels. And then they get eaten and then you don't see the Ember Drain. Just use it at its worst case for a big spike of Ember. You know, you put Permafrost on it, you just get a big spike of Ember out of it. The Rage is nice too. If you can play 2 of these per turn with Holdover Spell Chain, then Rage 3 is going to be enough to win the game. This is the card I'm always looking for. The runs where I do see perils, the Umbra runs where I do see perils always look a lot different from the ones where I don't. It completely changes the nature of the run. It's just a complete enabler for an entire build that is insanely strong. This is always a goated card. Need a Monster Train 1, I think it was like one of the best cards in the game. Moving on to Lazarus. It feels unfair to Lazarus that there were 10 cards that I had to talk about in Awoken, and then there's so many cards here that could be on a top 10, but I can only pick 10. So there's actually 16 cards that I wrote down. There's really only 5 honorable mentions. There is just one I just want to mention that's not an honorable mention for me, but it's this one. This is capable of doing infinite stuff, but if you're not doing infinite stuff, it's not doing much in my opinion. Scrap for parts. So, not going to really talk about it. Just wanted to bring it up. The honorable mentions I am going to talk about are Organ Harvester, which is great for getting tons of reanimate on your Test Subject Alpha or some spike tank. There is Minds of Their Own, which in a lot of ways ends up being less useful than you think it is whenever you draft it. A lot of the time it's just not necessary and it's very expensive, but it can be what you need. You just put permafrost on it and it can help you get through some early waves that you just need to get through early on until you're scaled up. I also have Replicator Ray on here. Isn't this a crazy clan where Replicator Ray isn't even in the top 10? You know, it doesn't always work. A lot of time you really don't want to remove your equipment because you only have one. A lot of time you don't get equipment, so you get the secret ingredient. It's also very expensive and it's a one and done, but it can be extremely strong in the right situation to just make another one of your carry units. Turns out that's pretty good. Another honorable mention, Sanguine Assistant. This is a good card too. I'm not even going to talk about it. Sanguine Assistant, really solid early game card. Really kind of guarantees your relentlesses early on. Just a free lifesteal every turn is really good. The problem with the assistants in general is that you do need to draw them. That's the only thing. They don't have banner priority, and you need to draw them. Oh, and last honorable mention is Forevermore Serum. Just no questions asked, reanimate. Great. Double stack, spell chain, remove consume, all these things are good. Okay, start with the top 10. I have Pseudoscience. It's a great double stack target. You can get a lot of spikes out of it, you get a lot of reanimate out of it. You get lifesteal too. A lot of the time you don't really want lifesteal. I kind of do dislike the random nature of this card, but it can be really good value. It's just a really good value card if you care about even two of those things. It's going to be really good. Number 9. Faulty Body. This goes on some of their tanks very well. Spikes 40 is a ton. You can double stack this for spikes 80. Or you can just play a couple of them for 40 spikes per instance. Takes care of backlines really easily. Takes care of a lot of bosses even. Spikes 40 is just so much. Yeah, really strong card. Just a really low investment, high amount of spikes. At number 8, Mixology. Mixing twice is really good. This card is especially valuable if you don't have secret ingredient, just as a way to give you mixing. You get -1 spell chain on this, I think, or -1 holdover, and you just go crazy. It's a lot of fun to do all the mixing stuff, and it's really powerful. Okay, number 7. Double-edged bear. Gives you double-edged arms, which is a weapon that has multi-strike, and it only costs 1 ember. Sign me up. I like multi-striking. Just a very universally takeable card. You're always going to want multi-strike almost every time, so pretty much just always want to take this. Okay, number 6, Spike the League. Reanimate is really strong, and this is a really great way to get it. Double stack, all that good stuff. Give you lots of reanimate for not huge investment. Okay, number 5 is Horrify. Why is this even in Lazarus? Like, why do they even have this card? Did they really need this? Why do they also need a Daze? They have so much stuff already. It's like, why do they even have this? It's just another Daze card, you know. I've already talked about lots of Daze cards. Daze is pretty good. Yeah, not much to say about that. Daze is good. Number 4, Twisted Assistant. It gives trample and a scaling solution. Rage 2 on strike. Obviously really good on test subject alpha, but really good on anything, any carry you want. It gives trample and a way to scale itself in 1 card. And for only 1 ember. It's just an extremely powerful weapon. The only problem and the thing that balances it is that you do have to draw it. So you're not going to have it on turn 1 every time. That's the only bad thing to say about it. The weapon it gives you is extremely, extremely strong. Okay, number 3, Tome of Horrors. This is an extremely good card when you're doing unstable stuff. It really likes double stack for 100 unstable and reanimate 2. But you can even give it remove consume and -2 consume. You can just give it -1, lots of stuff. Just a really good card to slap on your own units. And it scales their unstable if you're doing an unstable thing, and it gives them a reanimate. It's a 2-for-1. It's doing 2 things you want to do when you're doing this unstable strategy. It's giving you the reanimate, and it's giving you a huge amount of unstable. So when this card is useful to me, I always take it. Always a good card to take. Number 2, Overworked Assistant. This card can just solo the game. Dualism, reanimate. That brings it up to reanimate 4 when the base reanimate gets doubled and the shop reanimate gets doubled. And then incants for unstable 8. I have read runs where I X5'd this. I've just duped it a couple times, or even not. Even just stuck it on the floor and just invested all of my reanimate to it, and it just goes insane. It just solos the game a lot of the time, and for some reason it's 0 ember. Like, why is it even 0 ember? Like, it's not even 1? I guess like it doesn't really matter because it's just a 1 and done, so like a 0 and 1 is not that much of a difference, but it's just a matter of principle. Like, why is it 0 ember? It didn't really need to be 0 ember. It's already so strong. Like, yeah, this is just a unit that, again, is the same thing as the other, assistants. It's balanced by the fact that you're not guaranteed to draw it. So that's why you do need to dupe it a couple times. Not even just to play multiple on the floor, but just to kind of put yourself in a good position to actually draw it. Very powerful. And now for our number 1 Lazarus card. I am going to tell you that at the beginning of this video, I lied to you. Something that I said was that there were going to be no champions, there was going to be no starter cards. Well, there's going to be a starter card. The number 1 card in Lazarus is Secret Ingredient. This is just such an insanely versatile card. It can just do so many things. You're usually digging for green or red for lots of rage and lifesteal and divine shield or damage shield for your carry, or you're fishing for lots of reanimate or spikes for your guys. But he can even give you unstable to put on your own guys or to put on enemies in the early game just to clear out waves with 1 card. It can give you sap, which then can turn into rooted, which can keep enemies around if you need an extra turn to deal with them. This card just does so many things. It's a starter card. Like, it's one of the things that just makes Lazarus so broken, is that this is their starter card. Like, Talos gets Inspire. Like, that's so sad. Talos has Inspire compared to this. I have a crazy win rate on this card with my no reset challenge, where I almost didn't lose on this. It is like the only starter card in the game where I will -1 it and spell chain it or hold it over. It's worth the investment. I'll even duplicate this card once I have some upgrades in it. it's just sometimes you're just looking for as much reanimate as you can get, and this gives you so much access to so much reanimate and rage and whatever. It just really goes crazy. And the fact that you have 5 of them in your opening deck makes it even better. It's just a force multiplier with itself. Just keep playing them, keep mixing. Yeah. Lazarus is a pretty silly clan. That brings us to Melting, our last clan. Quick honorable mentions. Engulfed in Smoke, stealth is really good. If you can get this down in cost, hold over or something, double stacked. Just a really good defensive option. Fatal Melting can be, only really great with dregs usually, but can just be a great AoE spell, which is something that Melting really doesn't have, so it's always welcome. And last honorable mention, Sacrificial Resurrection can be really good for burning those shards out of your hand or just thinning out your deck. It can also give you a nice draft that could be good. It could have a lot of attack and it could be a part of your run. But it's mostly for burning cards, I would say, and it's free. So that brings us to number 10. I said for number 10, I said Wicklash. It's kind of a 2-for-1 in a way. It gives you burnout and it gives you attack. It's not doing too much in the way of either, but it's just a solid all-around card that a lot of the time you'll just want to take it, just have a burnout card or some kind of scaling solution. Not the best. I think it got a little bit worse in this game just because 10 attack is just really not that much anymore, but it's still a great card that's doing 2 things at once. At number 9, oh, it was right there. Molten Encasement. Tombs are a lot worse in this game. You can't infuse them anymore, so that's definitely a bummer, but it turns out this is still good. Stealth 2 every turn. If you get it on the slot, Reform. Really good defense. Defense is more important now than ever. Triggers harvests. Yeah, it's just still a very solid all-around card. Not nearly as good as it was in Monster Train 1, but still a good card. At number 8, Wickless Recruitment. This can remove melee weakness, it can remove corruption, it can remove sap. Just a really great way to a great support card. Even if you're not doing melting stuff, this is a card that a lot of the time is very takeable. Your units are probably going to get some kinds of debuffs on them at some point throughout the run. And this can really help with that. It costs 0 Ember. The only real downside to it is that it removes burnout, and a lot of time you don't want to remove burnout because you're probably going to be reapplying it, and then maybe if you're not reapplying it too much, your unit might burn out and Relentless or something, but this is still pretty takeable a lot of the time. At number 7, I have Purifying Cleanse, which is, in my opinion, just strictly kind of better than Wicklash a lot of the time. It, for one, restores more health than Wicklash gives damage. It also can be buffed in terms of the magic power, so you can give it a +10, you can give it some conduit, and it's doing a higher number. It's also doing a higher number of burnout. Burnout 3 is I feel a lot better about playing a card that says Burnout 3, feeling more confident that I'll draw another Burnout card in time than one that says Burnout 2. It's actually a big deal. And then I think that the defensive aspect of it, of just healing, is also very important. It's doing more to help you than I think the attack of Wicklash is. And this also costs 0 versus 1. So as far as the burnout cards go, this is just almost strictly better than Wicklash to me. At number 6, Molded. Reform can be really good. The targeted reform, a lot of the time, is really solid. It can bring back exactly what you want. Just having access to this a lot of the time is enough. Just being able to have it just in case is really strong. Or it's a way out if you don't find Endless or something like that. Very versatile card. You know, reforming is obviously a key mechanic of melting, and this is just kind of the easiest way to do it. Okay, number 5. Wax and Spike. The AoE burnout is kind of the main aspect of why I take this. The attack can be nice, but it's mostly just for AoE burnout. The fact that it applies burnout to all of your units, even if they don't already have burnout, can be really useful if you just want to have a burnout floor. It's just a great way to add a lot of burnout to wide floors, which is hard to come by. It's also a rare card. It is the only non-common card that gives burnout in melting. So if you miss on burnout earlier, a lot of the times this can bail you out. Yeah. Not much else to say. You can get some nice attack out of it too, or you can just play it for 0 and get the burnout. Which is what I end up doing a lot of the time. The sheer amount of burnout is the main thing that makes this card good. Okay, number 4 is Mortal Entrapment. This card had a bit of a glow up for Monster Train 1. The Daze 3 is now extremely useful, and it's much easier to get this thing down in cost. You know, Daze 3 is a ton. I mean, that's just an early Daze 3 on a boss. It's going to be out of commission for a while. It is expensive, but pretty easy to get the cost down, and it dazes for 3. Like, that is a ton of days. Okay, number 3. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, that was number 4, right? So number 3, Hollowed Halls. Hollowed Halls is a win condition in its own right. You give it a -1 holdover. You just keep playing it. You make a couple of them. You just scale your units like crazy. The only problem with this card is that I find a lot of the time I just kind of don't need it. I feel like it's not necessary a lot of the time when you see it. But it also has the power to turn around horrible runs. Where you're really struggling, it can just completely turn everything around. So, not super universal as you'd expect. I end up skipping it a lot of the time, but it's just so powerful when it works, and it can really save you from really bad situations. Number 2, Resin Removal. Like I said, there's a lot of debuffs in this game. I think the AoE cleanse is just strictly better than Wickless Recruitment, and it also doesn't remove burnout. This is a really great one to just remove all the sap from your units, or remove all the corruption, or whatever. Really solid card to pretty much always add to your deck, just no questions asked. Also removes all the buffs from enemy units, so it removes all their reanimate or whatever it is, lifesteal, you know, anything, spikes, stuff like that. A really solid, really universal card that's really multifaceted and multi-purpose. There's pretty much no reason to not add this whenever you see it. I'm basically always taking this card. And my number 1 melting card is Dripfall. Sort of great for the reasons that Tiresome Climb is great. It can overstack your own floor, and it can daze the boss. Not quite as good because it only is daze 1 versus daze 2, but it only costs 1 also. So it's really good to Dripfall your own units into the floor, or it's really good to Dripfall the boss and just stun them forever, or daze them, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, daze is really strong, and so is overstacking, and this can do both. So I always really liked this card in Monster Train 1, and I think it's even better now. Alright, so that's it. We got through all the cards. I I am not gonna lie, I'm getting really tired now, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching this just to see what I think about what the best cards are. I'm sure my opinions will change over time, but I can't imagine they'll change too much. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you think I missed anything or you think I'm way off on something, let me know what you think. So thanks for watching, and that'll be all. Thank you.